Alrighty, hello everybody. Today's Wednesday with Jay is gonna be on the move. Um, for those who have been watching my posts, am in the middle of moving from an apartment into my very first house, which means my days off are now going to grabbing little things and then bringing them back to the house. Today I got a bit of a late start because the missus, I think all the stress from the move and stuff is starting to take its toll, so she's not feeling very well. So I was looking after her, and that got me a little behind in my stuff. Yeah, it's been interesting. I haven't gotten much writing done, unfortunately, which is kind of sad, but I mean, I've got ideas. I actually have been talking with or emailing rather, with the, I guess you could call him our department head over at Audio Mazes for like publishing and things like that. There was a story that I submitted, I think it was originally supposed to be for October this year, but submissions were full. And I guess there was some miscommunication or a drop in communication or lapse somewhere. And I was like, did it not get approved or were we just full? I don't know. So he was telling me that it could be like something good for next year some point, maybe not necessarily Halloween. So I was like, ooh, okay. So we're going to start trying to develop it a little bit more starting in November. I'm really excited for this one because this actually is a story that it's kind of gone through like cycles. It started actually back when I was in high school originally, this concept at least, centering around my very first Halloween. Because when I was a kid, we didn't celebrate Halloween. My mother called it the devil's birthday, which I'm like, in retrospect, I'm like, well, that doesn't make much sense, but okay. But what my mom would do on Halloween is we had to turn all the lights off in our house, and then she would move the car like a block or something away, basically, so nobody in our neighborhood would see where our car was, and they'd be like, oh, they're home. So we couldn't watch TV, we couldn't do anything like that. So what I would normally do is I would just grab a book and either a candle or a flashlight, and I would go into a closet and I would just read. Which, I mean, yay for like alone reading time. But that's how I would spend my Halloweens. Now, when I got older and I was in high school, when I was, I met, Mrs. Winchester. She was like, hey, do you want to come over and do like hand out candy at my house with my grandparents and stuff like that? And I was like, can I? So I got all excited and I went out and I bought myself a pair of black angel wings. They actually had some red tinge in them too. I was so proud of these wings. And I decided that I was gonna be like a fallen angel for Halloween. And my mother was so mad about it that I actually had to like grab all my stuff, and because I was making money from writing like fan fictions for people and like inserting their characters and things like that. I think I was like $25 a pop, I think is what I was charging back in the day. But that's how I would make money. I didn't have an allowance. I never got an allowance. Chores were more like, hey, this needs to get done, or I would be like, ugh, that's gross, I should probably deal with that. We didn't really have a structure, but aside from kids do the dishes. So I had bought these things myself. I was very proud of it. I got them at Spencer's. But they were huge. Like when I say these were big wings, I mean like they were a 3-foot span and like 4 foot, like 3 feet wide, 4 feet long. Like I was very proud of these wings. So I actually walked from my house to Mrs. Winchester's, where she lived with her grandparents at the time, and with all my stuff for my costume. And got dressed over there, and I handed out candy. And like, basically I acted like a gargoyle or some kind of like an ornament in the lawn or something. And this essentially, I got caught up in this character, and Mrs. Winchester decided that she was going to be a vampirist that year. So she's sitting in the back of what is now her truck. Back then it wasn't hers just yet. But she was sitting in the back with a bowl of candy because her grandparents would pre-package these bags, and we would hand the bags of candy to the kids. So she was sitting in the trunk, and I'm sitting at the end of the driveway looking like a gargoyle. And oh my goodness, I was so stoked at how many parents I spooked. I spooked more parents than kids. The kids actually loved it. And then, so we got into character and stuff like that. And then we started just coming up with this whole like plot line for these two characters. And that's where Dimitri and Nicole were born. And from there, we started coming up with a whole storyline to go with them, and this whole like secret society of like creatures of the night that are still around in the 21st century. And I had some friends that kind of like gave some input and things like that, but again, it didn't really go very far. And so years down the road, one of my friends was telling me he missed my DMing. Because I would have like these whole storylines that were elaborate, and I was very adaptive with my players. Like I didn't get derailed. Like I always had a contingency plan for if they tried to do something. And honestly, they got rewarded for the more engagement that they got. Now, if they didn't do much and they just kind of followed along and did things like that, okay, cool, that's your choice. You get what you put into it. But he was saying, like, what if you did like some kind of a live stream where you like had people like basically make decisions, and then like you just walked them through it. So I got to thinking about this story that I made up, and I was like, well, what if I fleshed that out a little bit more? And I came up with this idea, which is where I started learning about branching storyline and how to write this stuff. And then, not even kidding, a month later, my friend Gabriel Garcia reaches out to me and tells me, you need to apply to Audio Mazes. And I'm like, what's Audio Mazes again? And he was telling me like it's branching interactive storytelling that's audio. And I was like, oh, okay. So I got excited because, I mean, I like the idea of audiobook, but I love audio drama, which I've told you guys before. So initially I was in a Fae mood, so I wrote Meet Me by the Thorn, which is available on Audio Mazes. And then after working that out, I started really thinking about, well, this story was the story that I kind of was fleshing out how to do branching narrative. So I was thinking, like, well, what if I tried submitting this as like a Halloween story? I mean, it's kind of my first Halloween. And so I tried submitting it, but they were already full up at the point. And sadly, I should have submitted it sooner. I really should have. That was my bad. I was late to the party. But ultimately, after talking to Colton Iverson over at Audio Mazes, he was like, oh, no, we were just full up at the time, so maybe we should start developing this. This is really an ambitious storyline, because I'm exploring a genre called supernatural noir. Which, if you guys are interested in me fleshing out like my research on this, because it's a really old like film noir genre that's really niche, but I'm really interested in trying to expand on this and making the story focused on that. If you want me to expand on that in like some vlogs or something, comment and let me know what you think. But yeah, that's what I'm really excited for developing right now. And I'm realizing it literally took me 10 minutes to get from the house to the apartment. So I guess I better wrap things up. Thank you for hanging out with me for my weekly check-in. As always, be kind to yourself and to others, as we're all traveling the same path in life, just in different vehicles. And I will catch you next week. Thank you for everybody who's commenting on my asking for input. Please continue to do that. In the meantime, though, happy reading and listening adventures.